Welcome back to Learn Economia. Having discussed the part 1 of John Robinson's model of economic growth, in this video we'll be discussing John Robinson's theory of growth as a continuation of what we have done in the previous video. So let's get started. In John Robinson's theory of economic growth, it's very important to note that there have been two possibilities of divergence. So the first possibility is that delta n by delta n, that is greater than delta k by delta k, and second possibility is delta k by delta k, which is greater than delta k by a. So let's understand the details. With respect to the first possibility, that is delta n by delta n, which is greater than delta k by delta k by k, this shows that the growth rate of population is greater than the growth rate of capital. Here n actually denotes the growth rate of population and k denotes capital. Okay, so here the first possibility is that growth rate of population is greater than growth rate of capital, and this type of situation actually occurs in underdeveloped economies. As far as John Robinson or Mrs. John Robinson is concerned, she is of the view that it is a profit wage relation which pushes the economy back on the path of the golden age. Okay, now what will happen there if there is excess labor supply? The excess labor supply, this would depress the money wage rate, and if prices remain constant, what happens is that the real wage rate would fall. Now, a fall in the real wage rate would increase the level of profit, and this will have its implications upon growth rate, especially growth rate of capital. And this in turn actually stimulate the growth rate of capital, and this will increase the growth rate the increase in growth rate would be unable to fulfill the labor supply of population. And when the parity between two growth rate are restored, what will happen is that then the economy would be on the golden age. We know that the golden age is a situation when the growth rate of capital and growth rate of population or growth rate of labor is equal. So when both these are equal, we can say that there is golden age. Okay, and there are many other things like full employment and all which will be discussed by Mrs. John Robinson. Now coming to the other case, on the other hand, what will happen if the real wage do not fall? If the real wage do not fall because of the substance wage floor, or if the general price floor does not fall in the same proportion as the money wage rate, then it would be much difficult to reach to the position of golden age, and this will lead to underemployment in the economy. So when we say underemployment, it is something that is similar to discussed unemployment. That is, people are employed, but they are not employed up to their capacity. So they won't be able to utilize their capacity. But for the name's sake, these people are known as employed, but actually these people are not able to utilize their full potential. Okay, so that is known as disguised unemployment. Now coming to the second possibility, when the growth rate of labor is less than the growth rate of capital, or the growth rate of capital is more than the growth rate of labor, in this situation this situation is actually seen in the developed economies compared to what we have seen the other way around in the developing economies. Now coming to this possibility, and this possibility of advanced countries or advanced economies returning to the path of golden age equilibrium is actually greater than that of the underdeveloped economies. So this possibility is more more for the developed economies compared to underdeveloped economies. Why is it so? It is mainly due to the fact that undeveloped countries actually these countries can move to a higher production curve through the technological improvement. They can upgrade their technology, they can move from one technology, or they can move from the older version of technology to a newer and improved version of technology because they have money with them. Developed economies have money with them. So as a result, developed economies are more seen to be moving in this direction. Okay. Now the higher production curve will lead to higher capital labor ratio as well. So when I say capital labor ratio, it is the ratio of capital to labor. Okay. Now here the equality between the growth rate of capital and growth rate of labor is something that is prerequisite, or it is considered to be important or inevitable for achieving what is known as the golden age. Now coming to the types of golden age, there have been many different types of golden age. So let's discuss this. First is a limping golden age. In this stage, what happens is that the steady growth of capital accumulation would take place, and this will happen below full employment level, or the growth rate of capital stock is actually less than that of the labor force. In this limping golden age, this situation can be compared with the concept of underemployment equilibrium, as it arises due to deficiency of capital as given by Keynes. Now, a limp in the golden age, it can be of different degrees. It can be less, it can be more, or so it depends. So the intensity of limp actually depends upon the fall or rise in the employability and the labor force. Now, the limp is said to be severe if the growth rate of output is less than the required growth rate of output. Okay. Now, the continuous decline in the level of employment is considered to be an indicator of severity of limp, and this will lead to the problem of inflation and unemployment in the economy. But going for the other way around, or going for the other side, you can see that when the limp is of moderate degree, then what happens is that the actual level of output would be rising faster than the required rate of output, and that is, the employment increases faster than that of the labor force. The increase in the employment would be more than that, or it can be speeder, or it can be faster than that of the labor force. As a result, the economy would be heading towards full employment. Now coming to the second possibility, that is a restrained golden age. In this situation, the actual growth rate of capital is lower than the desired growth rate of capital, and this is due to the operation of certain bottlenecks like problem with respect to growth rate of labor or capital or whatever it may be. Here, high rate of growth of interest or high interest growth rate and rationing of credit is also considered to be a situation leading to these kinds of problems or these kinds of scenarios. Okay, and during this period, we can see that firms cannot maintain a higher rate of growth due to technical progress in the economy. So despite the technical progress in the economy, so technical progress is already there, but that doesn't mean that the economy is growing faster. Even though there is technical progress, the economy is not able to grow faster. That is the situation here. So for Mrs. John Robinson, she coined the term with restrained golden age, referring to this particular scenario. And this situation, as per many economists, it is something that is impossible. But as per John Robinson, with a stock of plan appropriate for to a desired rate of capital accumulation, which exceeds the rate of growth of population and full employment already attained, the desired rate of capital accumulation cannot be realized, because the rate of growth of output per head is not sufficient to make what we want possible. So as a result, in restrained golden age, what happens is that the proportion of unemployment is considered to be rising, mainly due to the insufficient rate of capital accumulation. Standard of workers would fall unless the real wage rate for the employed workers here actually this is not rising sufficiently, or opportunities for self-employment are not sufficiently favored. And the desired rate of capital accumulation in this scenario, it is something that is not able to be realized due to the fact that when firm decides to employ more labor than the existing labor force, this would result in the rise in the money wage rate and the price, which further giving rise to demand for credit to finance production. This will push up the rate of investment to such a point at which the investment is checked. This is one side, but on the other side you can see that the demand for labor is prevented from exceeding the available supply, and if the growth rate is kept down with the revised and employed force, the system would be said to be in a state of equilibrium. As a result, any relaxation of credit would encourage to increase the stock and employment of more and more workers, which means invitation of to inflation, which is something which is considered to be quite uncontrollable. Thus, financial control restrained by golden age possesses a short period stability only. And if there is scarcity of labor, what happens is that the firms will refrain from binding up wage rates and attracting laborers from outside. So this will happen, and also because this may happen to, or this may continue to build up the production capacity in the hope of getting workers, but productivity or productive capacity would remain unutilized or underutilized. The underutilization can reduce the rate of profit on capital, and even though this is a short period stability, but this cannot prevail. Okay, now this makes clear with the applicability of labor and capital, and it would be difficult to achieve the desired growth rate due to the existence of market imperfections and all, which would act up as a constraint in the economy. Now, coming to the rate of capital accumulation, you can see that for Mrs. Rowan Robinson, the established relationship between the desired rate of capital accumulation and the possible rate. That is understood from the figure. The desired rate of capital accumulation would make the firms feel satisfied because uh, it is something that they desire with respect to the economic development. Now, it is necessary to know the relationship between the rate of profit caused by the rate of capital accumulation and the rate of accumulation which the rate of profit will induce. Now, if you look at the figure, you will see that a curve A actually gives the rate of profit as a function of rate of accumulation, and curve 2 shows the rate of accumulation as a function of rate of profit. If you look at the figure carefully, you can see that the two curves would intersect at point P and Q, and if the firms will operate in the region lying to the right of P, the rate of accumulation exceeds the rate of profit, and in this situation the ratio of basic and commodity sector is very high. In the immediate future, you could see that this ratio is likely to fall as a result because this is mainly due to the fall in the capital accumulation, and if the firms are operating in the region bounded by the points P and Q, then they try to step up the rate of capital accumulation. This situation occurs when ratio of machinery between the capital goods sector and the consumer goods sector happens to be low, and result that it would increase the rate of accumulation. Similarly, lower point of intersection of I and A at point Q is indeed a crucial point. This is known as the desired rate of capital accumulation, and the desired in the sense it is considered to be desired in the sense that firms feel contented in the situation in which they find themselves. Here we must remember that the desired rate of capital accumulation is analogous to Harrod-Domar warranted growth rate. We have already discussed that Harrod-Domar model. So I have already done a video with respect to Harrod-Domar model. If you haven't watched that video, you can go and watch it. Now, coming to the applicability of John Robinson's theory of economic development to the underdeveloped economies, we could see that this scenario is something that is similar to the growth rate of labor more than the growth rate of capital. And this model deals with the problem of population and its effect upon capital accumulation, especially in terms of a developed country. And there is a concept known as golden age, which every country would be experiencing through planned economic development. The main problem, especially when it comes to underdeveloped economies and all, is that the rate of population growth is faster compared to the rate of capital growth rate, and this will lead to underemployment in the economy. And in underdeveloped economies and the world, there is a growth theory which is based on the practical ideas and techniques which would be operating in the present social economic environment. And the process of economic growth in the underdeveloped economy without changing price level would simply act as a blind man's buff. Okay, because we are not taking into consideration each and every point. As a result, some price level is considered to be necessary. The model of John Robinson is considered to be a dictum against capital's rule of game. And there have been many people who have quoted John Robinson, also who have supported John Robinson. And so there have been sayings like this model brings out the main problem to achieve the steady growth rate depends upon the population growth and capital accumulation. Now, for Mrs. John Robinson, potential growth ratio or the growth ratio is very important, especially when it comes to golden age and all. And the planning process becomes easier if the growth ratio of the economy is calculated for a period on the basis on growth rate of labor force and that of the output per head. And the model of John Robinson actually suggests to take initiative in controlling not the private investment but also public investment in underdeveloped economies. So she actually says that it's very important to give equal importance to both the public sector and private sector if they're going for investment. Now, in this way, Mrs. John Robinson hints the adoption of Keynesian technique of the mixed public-private economy to gear an autonomous investment with the help of the fiscal and monetary policies. We know that fiscal policies are mostly done by the government, and monetary is something that is done by the central bank of a country. And when there is mixed economy, that means that there exists a private-public partnership. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, share and subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.